So I imagine a lot of the listeners are working for B2B companies, so tech companies like V24 and others. And I want to challenge people with what is the current experience that someone visiting their website has. So at the highest level, we help companies bring the in-person experience online. A lot of what we do online today is missing that human element, and we help with that. So again, as much as we can, as close as we can, bringing the online experience to an in-person one.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Tomer Azenkot. He's the CEO at V24. Tomer, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kelsey. Happy to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Tomer, why don't you start and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, maybe I'll focus on my career. I've been my entire career at enterprise software companies. By chance, started off at a company that is in the video space, working with broadcasters. That led to the next company also being in video, and then the one after that as well. And then the company I worked for just before V24 was in the user experience, customer experience space. So when I was approached about V24 just over 6 months ago, it felt like a perfect fit because we're really at that intersection of user experience, customer experience on websites, and the use of video online.
That's really interesting. So talk to me more, about what V24, the platform, the customer, experience. Talk to me more about what you guys do.
Sure. So at the highest level, we help companies bring the in-person experience online. A lot of what we do online today is missing that human element, and we help with that. So whether it be with large B2C companies, so large retailers, automotive, that want to bring video into the experience, enabling people browsing on their website to connect with someone from the team instantly without having to download any type of tool. We know very well we're using Zoom right now, but in every interaction as a B2B company, we try to use video because it helps us make that connection with the person that we're speaking with. The same, of course, is true also for consumer experiences. And then in addition to those B2C companies, we also work with B2B companies or any company where seeing the person you're speaking with adds a lot of value, especially in a world where I think we're inundated with a lot of AI and automated responses that are good in some use cases, but then fall short in many others.
Mm-hmm. So do you think, and I want to make sure that I'm, understanding kind of the thought process correctly. Do you think it's that, that video component that really adds that layer of personalization that enhances that customer experience?
So our approach, we have a suite of tools. Video is the key one within that suite. Our approach is to make sure that we can enable that engagement for each person, regardless of how they prefer to engage. So in some cases, a bot is a really good way to engage with someone, especially when it's a very simple, like FAQ type question. In other cases, maybe text is better. So especially when productivity is a big thing. So with over text, I can handle text messages with multiple people at the same time. But video adds a lot of value for a couple of reasons. One is in many cases, seeing the product on video is really valuable. So if, for example, you're buying a piece of jewelry, there's nothing better than to see that piece of jewelry on video and maybe ask the person selling it to you or the person helping you with some kind of service, change the angle, if it's a ring, put it on a finger and things of that nature. If you're buying a car, let's say you're buying a used car, and you want to see what the interior looks like to see how worn out it is, or if you want to see the front and the back of the car and the outside, being able to see that on video adds a lot of value. The second bucket is we're seeing the person is really valuable, just like we're speaking today. In order to make a connection with someone, the phone is difficult. An experience I like to share is oftentimes when I have to call into an 800 number, for example, for some kind of support issue, it's really easy to get aggravated with a person when you're only speaking with them on the phone. And that's certainly true, by the way, if it's an AI that you're speaking with. But when you see the person, when that person smiles to you, when you see that they're human as well, it's much more difficult to get angry with them. It's a much better experience when you're shopping, and it just leads to better results. And that data is very clear.
Yeah, no, I certainly hear you, and I'm thinking of my own personal experiences. Like, oh yeah, that would absolutely help me. So it sounds like there's a lot of different capabilities, because I know you mentioned kind of the video chat solution. You mentioned, the chat bots. Are there other capabilities that V24 has that enhances the customer experience?
Yes. So if the person's not interested in connecting right now, we also have a scheduling tool in order to schedule either a virtual or an in-person appointment at a later time. And we also have asynchronous messaging, so over SMS or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp. That often is a channel that people prefer, and we made that available as well. And then the other big thing, which I'm very excited about, and I think we're still in the early days of it gaining traction in the market, is co-browsing or collaborative browsing. So that's basically enabling me to share my screen with you, for you to share your screen with me, and or for us to work together jointly on the screen that we're both viewing. So that's incredibly valuable if you're browsing through a catalog online, for example, or if you need to fill out a form, we can together fill the form out. I can scroll for you, I can highlight for you different areas, just like you would have an experience in person. The one that I think of is when you need to, let's say, sign a document. Let's say you're at your bank and a document requires your signature. The person you're speaking with can put the document in front of you and say, just sign over here. And that's very straightforward. But when a document is sent to you over email, it requires a lot more effort to go scroll, find the areas, even through the signature systems, like DocuSign, which are very good, but it's still not the same experience as you would have in person. So we really take that to the next level. And with co-browsing, you can really do some cool things that unfortunately are still not all that common in websites we visit as consumers.
That's really interesting, because I was thinking to myself that was going to be one of the questions that I was going to ask, talking about, growing, scaling, adapting. So it sounds like co-browsing is really kind of taking V24 to that next level.
Yeah, I certainly think it's one of them. We're very fortunate to have this incredible green field of opportunities, since whether it be co-browsing or video chat are still at their very early stages, especially in North America, which is, I think, unusual. It's much more common in the UK and in Europe than it is here. So we have this huge opportunity, I think, for growth across all of our products. But it's for me, it's exciting because as a consumer, I would love to see all these functionalities available to us, whether it be visiting your bank's website or shopping on an e-commerce website, or really any other type of web experience that we have.
Yeah. So, in our conversation so far, you mentioned retail, and we've been focusing a good bit on retail of some kind of your client profiles. I know you also mentioned, I think I heard automotive. Are there other industries that V24 kind of really gravitates towards and tends to, work well with?
Yeah, we work with across a bunch of different types of industries. I'll give you another interesting use case. We work with a company in the UK who operate the customer service at a few of the airports, including Heathrow. And what they do is, if you're at the airport, let's say you lost your luggage, or you missed a connecting flight, or maybe you left your wallet on the plane, they have these QR codes that are spread across the airport. You can scan the QR code with your phone, and then one of their representative pops on your phone over video for chat. So another example of where video is incredibly valuable is when you're under stress. So let's say you just got off a plane, they shut the doors, and you forgot your wallet on the plane. It's happened to me before. It's a very bad feeling. And in that scenario, you're stressed out. You need answers quickly. The last thing you want is press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish, and wait on hold. And not to mention trying to interact with an AI that may not understand what you're saying. So that's where video, again, seeing someone on video and basically feeling like you're in front of the person really helps calm you down and gives you a much more confidence that you will find a solution. And it also makes it easier to find the solution. So that's one use case that is kind of unique. one of my hypotheses coming into the company is that it's great to be on all these big B2C sites, but we also have an opportunity with any B2B company. So as of January 1st of this year, we launched our own product on our own website. So if you go to Vee24.com, you will see Hannah from our team on the bottom right. We have like this animated GIF where she's basically waving. And instead of filling out a contact form, if you want to contact us, which I think is very antiquated and a poor experience, you can click on Hannah's image, and then it will give you an option. Do you want to connect with us over text or over video? And if you click on either one of those, you'd connect with someone on our team. If it's off hours, if we're not around for any reason, or if everyone is busy, then it will offer you to schedule a call for later. It's something that we're all very familiar with by now with tools like Calendly. So we do the same thing, except it's within that same experience. And that call, once it happens, will take place on your website. So on the Vee24 website in our case, so that we can enable the co-browsing to show different pages on the website if needed, or if we want to share anything else, we can do that very easily.
I love that. I love that. I see the intertwinement there. I like what you guys are doing. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
So, when you're talking about the biggest challenge, I would say, that your clients have, it sounds like a lot of it is just making the user experience. They want to find a way to make the user experience as friendly, as accessible as possible. And that's what people turn to Vee24.
Yeah, that's right. And the way I think about it is we want to have that same experience that we would have in person. If you and I were to grab a coffee, for example, having it on video, we're almost there, right? And if we can add a few of these functionalities like the co-browsing and like the ability to easily schedule time, then we're probably as close as can be compared to 10 years ago, where we would probably do this over the phone through some conferencing system, which would obviously not be as good. And in the retail world, that's a big thing. So many of our customers will have a contact center with dedicated call center reps that take the initial inquiry, in many cases over video. They have the ability to transfer from the contact center to a store associate who has maybe an iPad or maybe answers on their phone and is able to walk the show floor, for example, and be next to the products as well. So again, as much as we can, as close as we can, bringing the online experience to an in-person one.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's fantastic. So, talking about common misconceptions, I'm curious, Tomer, have you seen, people thinking something is some way kind of within the industry with what you folks are doing at Vee24? Is there any common misconceptions that you tend to hear often?
Yeah, so I think there are two that come to mind. One is that an automated or AI-based system is good enough. Now, we offer a chatbot as well, so we're not anti-AI or anti-automation, but we think it has its place, and then it doesn't have its place in many use cases. So that's one that I see when we do our research, or just in my personal life as a consumer. I see I think companies are too heavily reliant on providing some sort of automated, especially in the last 6 months with all the buzz about ChatGPT and other AI. I think we're leaning too hard in that direction. And then the second thing is that something that actually surprised me very much when I joined Vee24 is that being able to show the product on video is critical. What I've come to learn is that actually just seeing a person is what makes a big difference. So an example I can give is we work with what I think is the largest luxury watch retailer in the world. So it's a company with over 200 brick and mortar stores, and then they have a very large online presence as well globally. And if you want to buy, for example, a $30,000 Rolex, you would connect with them instantly, and they don't have the watches next to the reps that you'd be speaking with. So they browse you through the website, they answer any questions, and just being able to see the person adds that confidence and creates a good experience, which was a total surprise. I was sure that someone buying a $30,000 Rolex would want someone to show it to them, grab it from the showroom, but that's not at all the case.
That's really fascinating. I never would have guessed that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because there are many logistics and operational challenges in having watches available, especially if you have a 50-person contact center that all need to have access to it. So,
True.
Maybe it's by constraint, but it works. It really works well for them.
Interesting. Well, Tomer, this has been a great conversation. As we start to kind of wrap up, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either about V24, about the digital customer experience, platform that you guys have going on? Anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
There is. So I imagine a lot of the listeners are working for B2B companies, so tech companies like V24 and others. And I want to challenge people with what is the current experience that someone visiting their website has. We, of course, know that conversion rates are incredibly low. Maybe out of 100 web visitors, maybe 1 or 2 will contact you. And I just want to question whether and challenge especially the marketers who are listening, who are in charge of those experiences. Does it make sense? And we're coming up on the second half of 2023. Does it make sense to ask people, once they click that contact us button, does it make sense to have them leave their information in a static form? And then someone from your team gets an email notification and then hopefully connects with them within a few days and schedules a meeting for the next week or 2. It just feels very antiquated and a poor experience. Mm-hmm. If I'm on the website right now, I probably want to connect with someone right now. And giving people that opportunity, they may still choose to fill out the form and leave their information for a callback, which is fine. But at least give them a few different options, including connecting with someone right now from your team, because at the end of the day, that's what you want as well. So as I mentioned before, I came into V24 with that hypothesis that there is a big opportunity there. No one else seems to be doing that effectively, and the penetration is still very low in terms of companies that do that. So I think there is an opportunity to win with a better customer experience and make sure that your team connects with your prospects before they connect with your competitors.
I think that's brilliant. Tomer, that's a great little bit to leave our listeners with. I appreciate you, breaking down all of the great things that, V24 is doing, the co-working, or the co-browsing. I'm like, co-working, that's not right. Co-browsing. Well, you are co-working with it. The co-browsing, I think that's a brilliant addition. I can't wait to kind of see that in action and all the great things that V24 is continuing to do. Tomer, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Thanks, Kelsey. This was fun.